Let's talk SaaS. What are the 5 common solution delivery challenges that are stalling the growth of your SaaS business? 1. You can't define value, so you can't deliver it. 2. You treat go live like the finish line. 3. You use CX as a buzzword and not as your compass. 4. Firefighting isn't a strategy and more process won't save you. 5. Your PS team isn't the right size and they never will be. I'm Eric Ramson, founder of Phoenix Consulting Group, PCG. After 15 years of fixing these problems from inside SaaS companies, I built PCG to help others avoid them. Our whole mission is creating value-aligned customer journeys that actually drive SaaS growth. So let's dig into these challenges one by one. 1. You can't define value. Now, I'm sure your product is valuable. You wouldn't have a customer base at all if it wasn't. What's more, I bet your sales and solutions teams know how to position your value prop, but how are you translating that into measurable ROI your customers can actually track? I mean, specifically, right? What are the leading and lagging indicators you're tracking to value attainment? Does your software log this? Is it up to your customers to track it? And if so, is that documented in your legal contracts? Are these specific KPIs benchmarked and measured during the implementation and UAT? If you were to poll the individual project resources, would they be able to clearly articulate the specific and measurable ROI the customer is expecting at go live? And if not, how are they defining done? Does your customer success team have access to this data to drive their EBRs? Can they use it to inform renewal and pricing discussions? And does your support team use these metrics to assign value-based priority, or is it more or less a combo of FIFO and whoever's the squeakiest wheel? Look, SaaS is all about continuous measurement and reinforcement of the value your customers receive from your products. Doesn't matter how great your product is. Once your customers perceive they aren't getting the value, they will start shopping for alternatives. 2, you treat go live like the finish line, or in other words, you're focusing on TTL and not TTV. Look at your project plans. If you have a relatively mature delivery organization, you're following a basic waterfall methodology that culminates in a go live event, right? Followed by an arbitrarily long, typically 2 weeks hypercare phase. Now, if you look at your actuals, you're going to find that even if the bulk of your projects are going live on time, the hypercares are extending. Everyone blames all the usual suspects, right? Misaligned expectations, the sales team overpromised, product gaps, poor UAT. I can go on and on and on and on, but they're excuses. The root cause is the customer didn't license a deployment event. They licensed a solution. This is like buying a new car and finding the gas tank is completely empty. Sure, you've got the keys to a shiny new car, but can you drive it home? Until the customer recognizes they are able to extract meaningful value out of your solution, you're in an active project, regardless of what your project plan timeline says. 3, you use CX as a buzzword and not as your compass. Customer experience, or CX, this is one of those sexy buzzwords like best practices that we all love to throw around, but when you dig a little deeper, you realize at best it's meaningless, and at worst it's focusing your teams in the wrong direction. Okay, so the challenge is here, most leaders have an intuitive understanding of CX that follows the golden rule. So something like treat your customer as you would like to be treated. But that's not necessarily what your customer is looking for. They're looking to be treated as they would like to be treated. Simple enough, right? So how can you determine how they would like to be treated? Well, you have to understand how they would line up these 3 variables. 1, cost, how much they're willing to invest in the implementation of your solution. 2, time, how long they're willing to defer your solution's ROI. And 3, service, which is fundamentally how much of their resources bandwidth they're willing to commit to the implementation. Unless every single person who interacts with your customer along their solution journey is able to clearly articulate both the order and the weighting of these 3 variables, then you're not driving any meaningful customer experience. You're just using empty buzzwords. 4, firefighting isn't a strategy and more process alone won't save you. In other words, poor execution. And sure, this is an obvious one, but then why is it still an issue? Let's see, you've got a handful of firefighters playing hero across 80% of your projects. Everyone is operating a level down. So your VP is smoothing customer escalations. Your directors are acting like frontline managers. Your managers are acting as ICs. Your solution architects are writing configuration, and so on and so on and so on. Meanwhile, because your solution is too complex, it takes a year before new hires are productive. And bottom line, everyone is busy, but nothing's getting done. Sound about right? Again, you got three variables. The first is focus. This is the easy one. If you've solved the first three issues, that is value alignment, value attainment, and true alignment on customer experience, your path's going to be well lit. Now, your other two variables, I like to think of as a single adjustment knob. This knob is labeled people on one end and process on the other. And you're forced to strike the right balance between the two. Dial the knob too much towards people, and at best, you end up with inconsistencies from project to project, but at worst, you have burnout and costly attrition. If you dial that knob too much towards process, well, then you lose independent problem solvers. You end up with a team that isn't empowered to do the right thing for your customers. This is exactly why your leadership team is getting sucked into firefighting as opposed to prioritizing the strategic initiatives that would enable your growth. Finally, 5, your PS team isn't the right size and they never will be. Capacity, right? So look, a rapidly growing SaaS firm is never going to have an optimally sized PS team. Full stop. Either you're running fat and you have a costly bench, or more likely you're running lean, leading to delays and poor CX. So maybe have delivery partners. But if you're smart, you're using them strategically. And that means they're more focused on getting you in the door at a new logo than solving your PS capacity challenges, right? So fundamentally, they're a BPO or an SI, which too often means they're too bloated and too slow moving for SaaS delivery. The key is you need resources who know SaaS, and you need just enough reserve capacity to support PS when they need it and not when they don't. Do any of these challenges sound familiar? Well, that's okay. Most SaaS companies run into some, if not all of these challenges. And we're here to help. Think of PCG as your easy button. So 1, we can unclog your PS pipeline with strategic-minded fractional PS leadership. 2, we boost your delivery capacity through StaffAug using experienced resources who know how to prioritize what actually matters in SaaS. And 3, we transform your SaaS organization into a value-centric machine using our value optimization framework. This is a method and training approach that drives net new logos, NRR, and ARR. Check out our link below to unlock the delivery experience that earns customer loyalty and watch your referrals, your renewals, and your expansion opportunities soar.